All right, let's dive into a really fascinating story. It's right at the intersection of artificial intelligence, American national security, and our energy grid. And believe it or not, it all comes down to one single incredibly powerful company.
So let me ask you a question that might sound a little strange at first. What could AI data centers, the bleeding edge of tech, possibly have in common with US national security? I mean, one is all about code and algorithms, the other is about geopolitical power. But as it turns out, they share this deep, critical link that's actually reshaping entire markets and even government policy as we speak. And the answer, believe it or not, is energy. Both of these massive sectors are staring down the barrel of a huge energy bottleneck. And if you can understand this one choke point, you'll understand one of the biggest investment stories playing out right now. Okay, so let's start with the first piece of this puzzle, the absolutely insane amount of energy that the AI revolution needs. You've really got to think about this. These data centers, they're not just big office buildings with servers. They are absolute power-hungry beasts. They're crunching unbelievably complex numbers around the clock, 24/7. And they simply cannot afford to have the power dip just because the sun isn't out or the wind stops blowing. What they need is something called firm power. That means constant, reliable, always-on electricity.
So the problem becomes pretty clear, right? Renewables like solar and wind are amazing, but they are intermittent. They just can't deliver that steady, constant stream of power that AI servers demand. And that's exactly why these tech giants are looking more and more towards the one source that can: nuclear energy.
But hold on. When we say nuclear, don't picture those giant old-school plants from the 70s. The future of nuclear power, especially for things like data centers, is all about a new generation of reactors. And these new reactors, they need a very, very specific next-gen fuel.
And this is where a new acronym enters the picture: HALEU. It stands for High-Assay Low-Enriched Uranium. Now, in simple terms, all that means is it's a much more potent version of traditional nuclear fuel. And that extra punch is what allows for these new reactors to be smaller, way more efficient, and even safer. And make no mistake, this is a huge technological leap. Your old-school nuclear plants, they run on what's called LEU, or low-enriched uranium. That's enriched to less than 5%. But these new small modular reactors, or SMRs, the kind that are perfect for powering a data center or even a military base, they need HALEU, which is enriched all the way up to 20%. And here's the bottom line: no HALEU, no next-gen nuclear. It's that simple. So, this brings us right to the heart of our story. For years, a major supplier of this kind of fuel was Russia. But now, with import bans, they're out of the picture. So the US is desperately scrambling for its own domestic source of this critical fuel. And it turns out, there's just one company ready to step up. And just look at how fast things have moved. It's been a whirlwind. In late 2023, this company, Centrus, made its very first delivery of HALEU. Then boom, the Russian uranium ban comes into effect, basically solidifying their critical role. And then just recently, they landed a massive government contract to scale everything up. I mean, the dominoes have just fallen perfectly for these guys.
And when I say massive contract, I'm not kidding. The Department of Energy dropped a $900 million task order on Centrus. Now, this isn't just a grant or some loan. This is paid work. It's a massive signal that the US government sees this as a critical national security issue and simply cannot let it fail.
The reason for all this government attention is really simple. For right now, Centrus is the only game in town. They are the only American company with a license to produce this next-generation nuclear fuel. It's not just a head start, it's a full-blown domestic monopoly.
Okay, so let's put all these pieces together. When you connect all these dots, you get what smart investors call the bottleneck thesis. The whole idea is to find that one single critical point in a supply chain that absolutely everyone has to go through.
And the logic here, it's just undeniable. You start with the AI boom, which creates this massive demand for 24/7 power. The best solution for that is small modular reactors. But those reactors absolutely cannot run without HALEU fuel. And who makes HALEU in the United States? Centrus. It's a straight line. This quote just sums it up perfectly. You could try to bet on which uranium miner will strike it rich or which company will build the best reactor, or you can just buy the bottleneck. Think of Centrus as the operator of a toll booth that every single one of these next-gen reactors has to pass through. They sit at this incredible choke point where they get paid no matter which reactor design ends up winning the race.
Now, of course, a story this compelling is going to attract a ton of attention. And with that attention comes both massive potential and, you guessed it, some pretty significant risks. And the market has definitely taken notice.
I mean, we're talking about a stock that has surged over 200% in just the last year alone. A meteoric rise like that tells you one thing: Wall Street is pricing in a whole lot of future success.
And that leads us to the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? Is all this hype actually justified, or is this stock just priced for absolute perfection with no room for error?
And look, you've got to be realistic. There are some major risks here. First off, execution risk. Enriching uranium is ridiculously complex, and scaling up production is a monumental engineering challenge. Second, valuation. Like we just saw, the stock's already had a huge run-up, so any little stumble could cause a big drop. And finally, competition. While Centrus has a head start, the government is also funding other companies to build out this supply chain. So their monopoly, it's not going to last forever.
But even with those risks, you keep coming back to that fundamental idea. During the old gold rushes, the people who often made the most money weren't the miners, but the ones selling the picks and shovels. Well, in this new nuclear AI renaissance, Centrus isn't building the reactors, they're selling the fuel that every single one of them is going to need.
So that leaves us with the big final question. Is Centrus a foundational piece of America's energy future, just destined for incredible growth? Or is it a temporary monopoly, one that's just living on borrowed time before the competition catches up? The answer to that is going to define a huge part of our energy and tech world for years.